She sought a gift, but I think we must recognize the fact that this nation has gifted Justice B.R. Gavai to us. In your tenure as Chief Justice of India, you did not shy away from hearing cases that raise important constitutional questions, even when these cases were at the center of political maelstorms. The Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, Honorable Justice B.R. Gavai, Chief Justice Designate, the Supreme Court of India, Judges of the Supreme Court, Judges of High Courts, Judges who are present here, who are retired Judges of the Supreme Court, my good friend, the Attorney General, Mr. Venkatramani, Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, senior advocates of the Supreme Court of India present here, office bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, office bearers of the Advocates on Record Association, all other members of the bar gathered here today. It is a great honor to pay tribute to you, Justice Sanjeev Khanna, and to thank you for your tireless service to the cause of justice in your 2 decades on the bench. I have practiced before you in the High Court as well as this court, but your commitment to the cause of justice has always been unwavering. But before I move further, I just want to mention what Ratna said about Justice B.R. Gavai. She sought a gift, but I think we must recognize the fact that this nation has gifted Justice B.R. Gavai to us. I don't think that the Supreme Court of India could have got a better gift. And gift is a voluntary dispensation, Rachna. Chief Justice, you're a chip of the old block. You know, I was practicing in this court and I was there in ADM Jabalpur, and I saw when Justice H.R. Khanna gave his dissent. And we knew what was going to happen. That's the legacy that is part of your tradition. That's the legacy that you have honored in the 20 years you've been on the bench. The echoes of that judgment reverberated throughout the country and reverberate in our hearts even today. And the majority opinion has been buried and forgotten. Thank God that this happened, because it gave a new beacon of light to the members of the bar and the members of the judiciary as they dealt with very complex issues in times to come. You have steered this court with circumspection and with uncanny sagacity. We will remember you for steering the ship in turbulent times and anchoring it for its voyage to be carried forward by your successor. The baton has been handed over to Justice Gavai, and I know that when the ship is anchored and it sails, he will be dealing with the turbulence with as much sagacity as Chief Justice Khanna. I want to take a few moments to reflect on our expectations from the Supreme Court and from our judges. We, the people of India, gave ourselves this constitution symbolizing the aspirations of future generations at a time when there were currents and cross currents that were to be addressed for the nation to come to life. The country needed a constitution that was destined to manage the concerns of diverse characteristics of its diverse population. It is fundamental to remember that the grant of the status of citizenship to all on the basis of their birth was a singularly secular act which symbolizes what India stood for. People of different racial characteristics, representing multifarious castes, of different faiths, practicing different religions, with diverse racial characteristics, where issues of untouchability had still not been effaced from our social structure, were given equal status as citizens with the right to be treated equally. Equality without liberty would have been an empty promise, and therefore fundamental to the life of every citizen was the commitment of the state to protect his or her liberty. The court is the final arbiter to decide, in the context of laws framed, how to protect citizens' liberty and their right to equality. However, without fraternity, this country could not have survived. That is why the preamble of the Constitution says what it says and embraces a Republican form of government. You have, right through your career as a judge, sought to embody the ideals of our Constitution. You have strived to balance all interests in the highest traditions of judgeship. Your judgments have embraced concepts of secularism, protected the rights of minorities, balancing state interests with the fundamental rights conferred on our citizens. You have been fearless in ensuring the accountability of those who transgress the laws. You have been a strong, independent judge of unquestionable integrity. Your incisive and pointed questions always cut straight to the heart of a case, demonstrating your meticulous preparation in each and every case. Your perspicacity kept us always on our toes. You had the uncanny ability, honed by your experience on the bench and years of practice, to anticipate and foil any attempt by counsel to obfuscate the issues for a favorable outcome. Your courtroom has been a place where all persons, regardless of background or identity, believed that they would be judged only by the strength of their case. You always encouraged young lawyers to throw their hats into the ring and argue cases themselves. You had an intuitive sense of what is just, a rare quality. This haloed institution was enriched by your contributions on the bench. While many judges aspire to accomplish such a sense of fairness in their courtrooms, very few actually achieve this. You have been one of those rare judges. In your tenure as Chief Justice of India, you did not shy away from hearing cases that raise important constitutional questions, even when these cases were at the center of political maelstorms. You passed every timely and balanced orders. You passed timely and balanced orders, restoring the faith of the people in justice and reaffirming constitutionally mediated forms of discourse. This has been critical in cases that touch on freedom of religion, which regretfully is today marked by polarizing and often polemic forms of political discourse. Your approach has been one of restraint, but never indifference. Through your measured and firmly drawn lines, you have restored the supremacy of the Constitution and the values of equality, fraternity, and liberty. Your judgments are marked by clarity, precision, and an unwavering commitment to fairness. Your approach reflects a deep allegiance to the text of the law, while also recognizing that fidelity to constitutional values demands a pragmatic and humane lens, especially in the face of today's complex, plural realities. I wish to refer to some of the judgments that you have rendered in this context, and I have referred to some of those. I don't want to go through all of them. But just one or two: the voters' right to know. This is an association for democratic reforms, and access to information is far too important in a democratic setup so as to curtail and deny essential information on the pretext of privacy and the desire to check the flow of unaccounted money to political parties. You have, in the case of Central Public Information Officer, said judicial independence and accountability go hand in hand, as accountability ensures and is a facet of judicial independence. There are several other judgments which are landmarks and will be remembered by all of us in the years to come. But finally, in what can be regarded as one of the most eloquent expositions of the court's identity, responsibility, and character in recent years is Vishal Tiwari versus Union of India. You delivered a short but powerful order that is sure to inspire deep respect and confidence in the judiciary. In this order, after observing that courts are not as fragile as flowers to wither and wilt under an onslaught of polemical statements, you held, quote, every commission of contempt need not erupt in an indignant committal or levy of punishment, however deserving it may actually be. It is so because judges are judicious, their valor non-violent, and their wisdom springs into action when played upon by a volley of values, the least of which is personal protection. Courts believe in values like free press, fair trial, judicial fearlessness, and community confidence. Traits that ran through your blood while you were on the bench for 20 long years. This nation, in my belief, is at the crossroads wherein we need judges who protect rights of citizens, further the cause of equality, and defend the security of the state being destabilized by elements who do not wish India to be the great power that it is destined to be. Institutional atrophy and the rise of a culture of dominance, consequently leading to societal insecurity and issues relating to economic aggrandizement, are matters that the court will have to deal with in the years to come. The 33 judges of this court, the brave hearts who must display the courage and integrity, must meet such challenges consistent with the principles of those who hoped that our tryst with destiny will make this nation not only a great political and economic power, but a nation in which every citizen cherishes the values of tolerance, of fraternity, of oneness, and of the ability to express his or her views. And finally, to be heard and not be silenced by the might of the mighty and the whims of those who are intolerant. That is the hope from this court. And in your contributions to the bench, you have displayed that there are still great judges in this court who will not let us down. We wish you calm waters and beautiful skies as you sail off on the next leg of your journey in the service of our country. May you find joy and fulfillment in all you do. And may Asha, your wife, and the family get more time with you, which is necessary. Thank you very much.